Welcome to Shift 4. With the release of Canon C300 Mark II, we're going to take a look at this long-awaited camera and compare it to Sony's FS7. Both the C300 Mark II and the FS7 have approximately Super 35mm sensors. The sensor in the FS7 is the same as in Sony's F5, whereas the C300 Mark II boasts a new sensor developed on from that in the C300. The FS7 has a 4K sensor, rolling shutter, and a base sensitivity of 2000 when shooting in log. The Canon C300 Mark II also has a 4K sensor and rolling shutter, but its base sensitivity when shooting in log is 800. The FS7 has three paired log and gamut options. S-Log2 S-Gamut is designed to optimize the latitude of the video sensor with a large color capture. S-Log3 S-Gamut 3 is designed to act more like the Cine log curve used for scanning film, notably with slightly raised shadows, with a colour space equal to S-Gamut, but with a slightly more subtle filmic colour science. And finally, S-Log3 S-Gamut 3.Cine. This is the same log curve, but with a similar filmic colour science of S-Gamut 3, but with a reduced, more uniform colour space. The purpose for this is the colour space axis is similar to display colour spaces. For easier colour grading, and simply increasing the saturation uniformly will get you most of the way there. Both log curves boast 14 stops of latitude. The C300 Mark II has two preset log options. C-Log2 is a newly designed curve from Canon, which is much flatter than C-Log, which looks very close to Sony's S-Log3 curve, so again, more like the Cine log curve. C-Log is the same curve originally from the C300 Mark I, and according to Canon, still achieves 15 stops of latitude when used in the Mark II. Looking at the curve, it seems there is potentially more detail in the shadows compared to C-Log2, but should clip faster in the highlights. Both log presets in the Mark II use Cinema Gamut for their colour space. This is the same massive colour space from the C500. This is bigger than anything Sony offers. However, as the colour scaling isn't uniform to normal colour spaces such as Sony's S-Gamut 3.Cine option, grading the colours without a LUT can be more difficult. Canon have keenly promoted the more filmic colour science of their C300 Mark II, with more pleasing highlight roll-off. Looking at saturation versus luminance, this appears to be true, with both the C300 Mark II and the FS7 capping saturation around 40 IRE, or mid-grey in their respective log recording. This is similar to the colour science of ARRI's cameras replicating the highlight roll-off of film. Along with log recording, both cameras can apply monitor LUTs to viewfinder and SDI outputs. However, the FS7 will only do this when recording in Cine EI mode, whereas the C300 Mark II will allow LUTs whenever shooting in log. When comparing the cameras on sensitivity, the FS7 appears to be more sensitive with a base ISO of 2000 in log. The C300 Mark II has a base ISO of 800. Worth noting though, is the FS7 can appear quite noisy at 2000, so some operators choose to rate more at 1000, overexposing by one stop to reduce this. Images from the C300 Mark II at 800 can also look slightly noisy. The corresponding gain levels show that 800 is the same as 12 dB of gain. This is quite high compared to the C300 Mark I, which has a base ISO of 850, equaling just 2.5 dB of gain. So the same logic of overexposing to reduce noise still applies to the Mark II. Sony's FS7 has an E-mount for use with Sony's own stills lenses. This can be adapted with various third-party adapters, opening up the possibility of lenses such as PL or EF. One such adapter is the Metabones, which also allows communication between the EF lens and the camera, meaning iris can be controlled using a dial on the body or on the smart handle. The drawback to this is the iris can be slow to react, plus the connection can be somewhat hit and miss, requiring disconnecting and reconnecting of the lens from time to time. Like its predecessor, the C300 Mark II comes with either EF or PL mount. The EF mount is Canon's own stills lens mount, so communication between EF lenses and the camera isn't a problem. The new C300 also has Canon's dual pixel sensor for advanced autofocus options with almost any Canon EF lens. It has various full or semi-auto settings as well as face detection, allowing an operator to select from multiple faces with the joystick. The face detection is good in normal exposure levels, but struggles with low contrast or fast moving objects. It's also possible to set the speed and sensitivity of the focus pulling. Both cameras offer multiple options for resolution and compression for recording, including RAW. Both can shoot 4K cinema, Ultra HD and HD, but the C300 Mark II has the extra option of 2K. Both cameras' main codecs use H.264. The FS7 is called XAVC, and the C300 Mark II is XF-AVC. The FS7 records to Sony's XQD cards and has two options of XAVC, XAVCI standing for intra and XAVCL standing for long op. The intra has higher megabits per second of about 100, as each frame is an individual piece of information. The L version uses update frames, so has less megabits per second, just 50. Both have a sample rate of 422 and 10-bit colour depth. The FS7 has MPEG-2, which is the industry standard codec for HD broadcast capture. With the addition of the FS7 extension unit, it's possible to shoot ProRes codecs in HD, but only up to 422HQ. In addition, the extension unit provides 12-bit 4K RAW from a single BNC. The C300 Mark II shoots to CFast 2 cards and, similar to the FS7, has an intra and long op option for XF-AVC 422 10-bit, used for 4K and HD recording. On top of this, it has much higher quality XF-AVC options for HD and 2K recording, with full 444 sampling at 10-bit and 12-bit, and from a single BNC, 10-bit 4K RAW to record to an appropriate recorder. The 4K RAW appears to work in the same way as with the C500, in that the ISO, log gamma curve and white balance are all baked in to get the most out of 10 bits. In terms of high speed recording, the FS7 specs are slightly higher than the C300 Mark II's. The C300 Mark II can't record 50 or 60p internally at 4K, whereas the FS7 can. Although the standard for UHD TV broadcast is still being finalised, the frame rate will most likely be 50p, making the C300 Mark II impractical for future-proofing for 4K. Similarly, the C300 Mark II is only capable of 100 frames of HD and PAL, whereas the FS7 can record 150. The methods used for higher frame rates are also different. The C300 Mark II does this by cropping the sensor by half in the centre, effectively making it a Super 16, whereas the FS7 uses pixel binning, whereby several pixels are grouped together to make larger pixels, so only half the number of pixels have to be read. This allows the full Super 35 sensor to be used, but increases aliasing in the image. The C300 Mark II's method retains the same image qualities, but doubles the length of your lenses. The C300 Mark II has basically the same body design as its predecessor. Because of this, rigs, shoulder pads or accessories from the original C300 should work with the Mark II. The top handle has been upgraded and connects with several Allen screws, making it more stable, as well as having additional mounting threads. The LCD is higher resolution but still difficult to use in sunlight without accessories, and the viewfinder is now a high-res OLED. The camera boasts 10 stops of internal ND. It has 0.6, 1.2 and 1.8 internal ND filters, and can double them up to achieve 2.4 and 3.0 ND levels. As we've already said, the camera records to CFast 2 cards, and also uses a new type of battery and mains connection. So unfortunately, none of the media, batteries or power accessories from the original C300 are compatible with the new Mark II. The FS7 has slightly more of a traditional camera design in comparison. It has a traditional broadcast ND dial, gain switch and white balance controls. It also has what Sony calls a smart handle, which is on the end of an arm, so it can be used as a handle while handheld. It can be powered by Sony's BPU batteries, making for a lightweight setup, or with the addition of the extension unit, it can be powered from V-Lock batteries, which can make the camera easier to balance when using larger lenses. In conclusion, both cameras shoot 4K and HD with a variety of options for codecs, RAW recording and filmic log curves. The C300 Mark II offers slightly higher dynamic range and more subtle colours associated with the filmic look. It also offers higher quality codec options for internal recording and better operation with Canon's EF stills lenses. The Sony FS7 on the other hand is slightly more light sensitive and has a more traditional camera design, better suited for extensive handheld work. It also offers popular codecs like ProRes and higher frame rates using the whole Super 35 sensor. For more information or to hire equipment, please contact Shift4.